Hello, hello. It's good to see everyone. Welcome back to a Smart Stack episode. Once again, my name is Massimo, one of the hosts. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at something that I've been using personally for almost a year. It's super helpful in my day-to-day, mostly work life. And it's called Fathom AI, or Fathom.video is their URL. Essentially what it is a AI note taker. There's a lot of them out there. Tom and I will be talking about them in our weekly comparison. So in today's video, I'm going to go through what Fathom Video is, the strengths, benefits, weaknesses of it. I'm actually going to show you how to use it, how it works. And yeah, like I said, I've been using it for a year, so I should know my way around it. I hope you enjoy the video. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. The button's right there. We actually take your feedback. We use it. We look at it. So yeah, I'll see you in the video. All right. So here we are on the website. You can see Fathom.video. So I think Fathom's been out for 2, maybe 3 years now. I've personally been using them for about a year. They really originally came out, I think during the pandemic, they started building this. And at the time when they came out, they only had Zoom. They were like Zoom first. And I mean, truthfully, a lot of the world uses Zoom. So it was a good idea by them. But now they actually have Teams and Google Meet, and they're very good. How I stumbled upon them was through Zoom because I'm a heavy Zoom user. I also really like this. They have a free version, but they talk about how, and they talk about their data privacy to kind of put everyone at ease. And they also talk about how their AI is never trained on your data. So that's one of the worries people have with these tools. If they're joining your meeting and you're saying confidential things in your meeting or whatever, just keep that in mind, that obviously stuff does go through their tool. But they talk about what that means, how they use the data, etc. So you could start out for free, super easy. I'll show you how to integrate it, how to use it, all of that fun stuff. It's also, as you can see, got a ton of reviews. It's HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 compliant. For a lot of companies, that matters. As you go through, this is what it kind of looks like, right? So a couple things to take away, and Tom and I will talk about this in a lot of the tools do this, but you can see they have different templates. So the idea with these tools is they join your call. They not only give you the video recording, so they record a video of the call, but they also give you a summary of the call in text format. And that's the huge value, because now you can search it, you can read it, etc. And so what they're showing here is different templates. You can have a sales template, a general template, a chronological, like who said what when, kind of like a WhatsApp chat. So you could see all of that, and it generates really fast. I've been using it for a year. Like, it's crazy how fast. You can see that they actually integrate with a number of tools. So you can send it into HubSpot and it'll send the meeting in, or Salesforce. If you don't have one of those tools, it also integrates with Zapier, which is a tool that basically lets you send anything anywhere, which is really good. So they're very integration friendly, which is great. You can grab little clips, right? So you can see here's a little clip, a highlight. I'll show that in the video, but this is something that I think is really neat, and I've actually done it multiple times, where it's like there's a specific clip when I said my action item, or there's a specific clip when I said something, and you can actually send that to someone or just keep it for yourself. And then they do have like a little chat bot included. So you can kind of say, okay, Fathom, what did I say here? What did I say there? And it'll actually do it. You can actually tell it to help you. What they're showing here is, okay, what did I discuss? Create a follow-up meeting, email, and there you go, right? So they've got AI built into it, which is really neat. But in general, very user-friendly, very easy to use. You can see all of the apps that they actually integrate with, what they're planning on. So they've got a few CRMs here. They've got a few platforms. They're compliant. These are like a note taker, Google Writer, Asana, Todoist, Gmail. So it's really, really straightforward. And I mean, A lot of the best apps are. I love them for that reason. So let's actually get into the tool. So I'm going to pause and sign in, but you can see here, it's a pretty straightforward sign in process. You're just going to hit sign in. It's actually going to ask you, you have 3 options or ways to sign in: Microsoft, single sign on, or Google. Most people use Google. I think that's why it's at the top. That's what I ended up using. So let me just sign in and I'll unpause this. Okay, so you can see here, I obviously take a lot of meetings through this. And so you can see it's kind of showing all of those meetings that I've taken. You can see when it's impromptu, that kind of means what it says. So one of the neat things with Fathom, if I go to the settings here, you can actually integrate with your Zoom. It has a desktop app, like Fathom does. But when you go to integrate, it's just going to basically ask for your Zoom login. It'll pop up Zoom, let you sign in. You can also integrate with Google Meet. So you can install a Chrome extension. You can tell it to auto. So once you do actually integrate with Google Meet, you can have it auto join your meeting. So that's one of the neat features with these. I personally integrated with Zoom, and then a lot of my clients and other companies I work with actually use Teams. So I made sure it's enabled in both of those. And what that means is when Fathom senses you going into a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, it will just follow you, which is great. And that's when you get these impromptu, because it doesn't actually see that you had this meeting scheduled. Maybe it's a client's Teams meeting or something, but it'll follow you in there, which is a really nice feature. You can also integrate with Zapier. I'd recommend going back here, just changing your bot name. I think by default, it's called an AI note taker. And so these tools will actually join your call as like another attendee. And so you can customize what the name means. This is something I really recommend. I'll show you that shortly. When you actually have a meeting, and it auto generates. So as I'm saying things, as someone else is saying things, it'll actually auto generate what each person said they will do, which is a really cool feature. You can default which meeting template you like the most, and it will actually keep track of that. I'll show you that. Here are some of the integrations you can do, CRM-wise. And then there's just some quality of life things here. But I would say the big thing that you guys should definitely do here is install the desktop app. You can install the Chrome extension if you want. Definitely install the Zoom app if you use that. These are some of the highlight options. But the desktop app is really important because when you actually have someone joining a meeting or when you're actually in a meeting with someone, you can actually use these highlight options. And so when you're in a meeting, the desktop app will be floating and you can actually click, okay, this was a positive or needs review or feedback or objection. Like you can click these things. The desktop app is also neat because as you're talking or the client is talking, it'll actually pop up things like 1.5 minute monologue or whatever. So it'll kind of give you a visual cue like shut up or like stop talking, whatever, right? So the desktop app is really neat. It's something unique with Fathom as far as I can tell. You can change the wordings of these. You can move them in different orders. But the idea here is you can quickly click things which will allow you to find them in the recording. And so what Fathom does is when you click one of these while you're in a meeting, it'll actually go back for the last minute, grab that, do a positive interaction if that's what you click. So I find that really neat. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to actually show it in this video, but when Fathom actually joins the meeting, once you have all of this set up, Fathom will just join your Zoom meetings or your Google Meets or whatever. And it'll be obvious what it looks like when they do. So now if I go back here and I go, I was going to click on one meeting here that I know the gentleman. One sec. Okay, so this is what a finish. So this happened back in March. This is what a meeting would actually look like when it's complete. So you can see a couple things here. One, there's a transcript of like every single thing each person said, right? And you can actually click and it'll scroll you to that part of the transcript. Two, here's the Ask Fathom. So if I pause this, I could say like, what did Massimo? So there was a client we were talking about here. And so you can see here, there you go, right? And so it actually gives you like the clips, etc., which is really neat. But in general, I often go to this and I look at the key takeaways. So we were talking about integration, hitting rate limits, and some other things, right? Custom solution, probably going to cost like under $5,000, but it needs to be done. You can see here are all the action items. And it's actually smart enough to know, okay, Andrew said he's going to do this. Mass said he's going to do these 3 things. And you can actually like click here and delete them or edit them, but it actually got these automatically. That's what this little star thing here. And so this is honestly the biggest feature I like out of this, because when I go into meetings, I say a bunch of stuff. I don't necessarily remember what I said or when I said it. And so when Fathom does this, it's really helpful. And I have actually integrated this into my CRM. So this whole meeting note goes into the CRM. And then these action items actually go into my to-do list software. So, and then every day I go through and like rearrange things and choose what day I want the action item to happen. So, I find the action items immensely useful, and I would say 90% of the time they're right. It's really good. You can see here, it'll say your questions. So, and you can actually click and it'll bring you to that part of the meeting, which is really helpful. Their questions. And so this is the bulk of the interface. Like Fathom keeps it pretty simple. You see here, you can change the meeting note template style. So if you go here and you say project breakdown, it'll go through the video and it will it'll change the style of this note into a project breakdown. Depending on your role or your business, this is definitely very useful just because it allows you to, like if you're a project manager, you could see here, like, okay, issues and tickets. Here's the fishbowl integration issue, context, status, concerns. Then there was another one for Giddy, I think. So like the short story is that you can default this. This was in the settings. You can say, okay, I'm a project manager. Those are the type of meetings I have. Always default to this type of template. Now you can always come back and change it. You can also copy it into a number of softwares. You can also share this link to an external person that doesn't even have a Fathom account, and they can watch it. They can look at all of this. You can copy it, right? The whole thing. You can also send a follow-up email. So Fathom will actually create a follow-up email for you, kind of saying, here's the recording. This is what we have to do. These are your actions items. These are mine. You can also in the settings tell it to auto send to a client, which is really helpful. And a lot of people turn that on just so after the meeting, like the client gets the notes, you get the notes, it's all good. This is the bulk of what you get. And so up here you can search. So you could search any call recording in the system. It'll search all the transcripts and find it. I have found the search to be really good. It's really helpful and very accurate. The other thing I find myself doing a lot is just rewatching this, right? So like, I do use this a lot. I do use the search in here, Ask Fathom, and I try to find the area that I said something specific. And then I rewatch that just to see if there was added context or specific things I said that I didn't remember. But all of this is customizable. You can change it. Like I said, in the settings, you can do a number of things. And in the desktop app, it's hard to show, but what'll happen when you launch the meeting, there will be kind of like a ribbon that's floating in your Windows or Mac environment. And that's where you can click, okay, this is important, or that's not, or that's where it'll pop up and say, you're in a monologue or you're talking too much or whatever. But really the power is here. And the obvious benefit is just like, to write notes like this, my goodness, you're not listening in the call, or you're spending 10 to 20 minutes after the call writing notes like this. Like, it is a massive time saver. From a compliance angle, you've nailed it, right? Like, if you're in an industry that like you have to write notes and you have to track who said what, this is great. So, I mean, that's basically the integration. They do have some credits here. If you're kind of like referring people, you get some credits. You can use it against your bill. But really, for me, since I copy paste all this stuff into my CRM or into my to-do list software, I'm rarely in the Fathom app unless I really have to find something. But in general, if you're the type that wants to come in here and search for things, it's a great repository, super simple, super easy. They just got a massive injection of money. Fathom did like 20 or $30 million. And so it's only going to get better. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's my favorite. I chose it years ago just because of the Zoom integration. It works really well. But in general, it works really well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.